how should you be fueling your long runs? My name is Jack from Box Nutrition, and I help recreational sportsmen and women understand exactly what they need to be doing to improve the way they look, the way they perform, and the way they feel. Seen that? The dog, that is. Harry Potter. So how do you actually fuel your long run? This is going to depend on the length and also the intensity. If you've read any of my previous posts, you'll understand that as exercise intensity increases, so does your reliance on carbohydrates. So if your long run is going to be more of a, say, high intensity effort or race pace effort, you're going to have to fuel with more carbohydrates. However, if it's more of a low intensity, easy run, then you're probably not going to need quite as much. We also need to think about the actual distance or the length of the run as well, because once we start kind of running beyond that kind of 60-minute, 75-minute mark, we're going to deplete our glycogen stores. So in these cases, you're probably also going to have to top up some of your energy levels with added fuel on your run. Okay, but what should you actually eat? My advice is use your long run to practice your race day strategy, or get used to a breakfast and or snack you're going to have before, which you know works well for you. In the morning of the run, we're looking to top off glycogen levels and ensure we've got plenty of carbohydrates in the system. So for this, we're looking to have about 1 gram per kilo of body weight or target body weight before you start running. So because I'm 85 kilos, I would need about 85 grams of carbohydrates before I train. Look for foods that are low in fiber and also fat, because this can actually impair your digestion and feel sluggish and slow on the race. It may also lead to some gut problems as well whilst you're running. That's the last thing you need. Happened to me. So think of staple breakfast foods that you enjoy. It can be things like bagels, crumpets, toast, oats. All things would be great pre-run. However, it really does come down to practice. So you need to practice with foods that you like. So for me, I like to have crumpets and jam because I don't have any stomach issues and it gives me plenty of energy. But I can't eat before a run. If you really can't eat before you run, what you can do is move this meal to the evening before. So simply have a large carbohydrate meal in the evening. Again, use that 1 gram per kilo of target body weight of carbohydrates as your goal. So again, multiply your weight in kilos by 1, and that's how many carbohydrates you can have. The other thing you might want to do if you are going to say run fasted is have something like a small banana, maybe semi-liquid nutrition, or even a little bit of honey, because we know that your liver glycogen or the carbohydrates stored here are going to deplete. So something like a teaspoon of honey can actually really help. The other thing you need to think about is hydration, or how much fluid you're going to have before your run. As a general rule of thumb, we're looking for around about 5 to 10 milliliters per kilo of, again, target body weight. This is also something you need to practice, because drinking too much too soon can make you feel rubbish. Okay, so that's before your run. What about actually during your run? As I mentioned previously, this will depend somewhat on the intensity, where lower intensity runs aren't going to need that much fueling, and something like, say, 20 grams per hour after that first hour is usually enough. So this could be, say, 1 energy gel, it could be a banana. However, if it's more of, say, a race pace, or if you're practicing a fueling strategy for your main event, this probably will be more. We know that we can roughly take on about 60 grams per hour and potentially up to 90 grams of carbohydrate. But this does take practice. Most people won't be able to withstand that many carbohydrates. So this is where it comes down to practice. Experiment with gels, bars, chews, and see what works for you. Okay, so in a nutshell, all you need to do is think about how many carbohydrates you need to have before your session, which is typically around about that 1 gram per kilo of target body weight. Remember to practice with foods that you know work well for you. Try to avoid things like spicy and high fiber foods, as this can cause stomach discomfort. Also think about hydration before the run too, and also look to include more carbohydrates after the first hour of activity, especially if intensity is quite high. If you needed any more help with your nutrition, or if you're interested in metabolic testing, then head over to boxnutrition.co.uk for more help.